Ja-la-da-da-dee-da-doo-doo, boop, boop, boop. What is going on, everybody? My name's Andrew. Welcome to the Disarranged Talk Show, hosted by myself and my co-host Matthew Garner. Tonight, we kick off a three-part series on how to survive Marine Corps boot camp. Tonight, we're going to start with the mental preparation. So grab your popcorn, your bubbly, and let's get started. Welcome to Disarranged.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to Disarranged Talk Show. Joining you live from B More and the D, your hosts, Matt and Andrew. Please like, subscribe, and comment.
Goodness, episode number 61. We finally made it. Happy Labor Day weekend. I made a video earlier and I went to post it, and Rodriguez, our good buddy, reached out to me real quick and was like, he's like, it's Labor Day boot, not Memorial Day. So
did you say Memorial Day?
Yeah, dude. And I posted it on Snapchat, and
You're
Rodriguez
a real
hit me
piece
up
of
and-
shit.
Yeah, and dude, it was one take. I'm like, dude, I'm the man. And then so 3 or 4 different takes
Yeah.
later, I finally got it. So happy Labor Day, everybody. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It was a nice weekend. Spent Saturday with my beautiful girlfriend and her beautiful family at a reunion. Sunday barbecue all day. So my social battery is completely drained. I want to hide under a rock now, but no, today was good. It was indoors. It's like 400 degrees outside,
Yeah.
and just catching up with stuff around the house, getting ready to go back to work.
Yeah, same
about
here.
you?
Same. I have some big news, man. Big news.
Okay.
After 8 months of
Mhm.
sleeping on an air mattress, I finally went out and purchased myself a bed.
That's amazing, dude.
So we'll give the snaps and a round of applause for that. But no, man, just getting my house organized. Hey, at ease. Thank you.
Right.
But no, it's been a nice weekend. I enjoyed the day off. Got a lot of work done and a lot of laundry. So other than that, man, everything's doing good. But let's not postpone it any longer, because if you are just watching for the first time, this is my favorite part of the show. Let's kick it off with news.
And now, your news and current events with Matt G.
I love cutting you off in my transitions. It's my favorite part.
Well,
I
I'm
love
glad
cutting
that
off.
when I watch it back and I'm like, damn it, he cut me off. At least I know it's intentional. So
No,
what do
I
you got
didn't.
for it?
Yeah, I got a couple stories. Nothing super glamorous, but a couple things that caught my eye. The first one is about a new COVID variant that health officials are saying is out, and it's actually part of a push to provide a new COVID vaccine. So let's watch a quick video on it, and we'll chat about it.
Copy.
Now to the new COVID variant that health officials are keeping an eye on, coming amid a rise in hospitalizations for the virus. ABC's Derek Dennis is here now with details. Derek, good morning.
Good morning to you. With the CDC documenting a rise in hospitalizations across the U.S. The latest data showing what we're seeing here. There were 15,000 new COVID hospitalizations for the week ending August 19th. And now retailers and pharmacies are reporting an increasing demand for at-home COVID tests. Walgreens saying we are seeing greater demand in this category nationwide, which may cause temporary and isolated shortages. The CDC also monitoring as the virus continues to evolve through, though it is far too early really to say whether one of those variants, the BA.286, might cause more serious illness or.
Yeah, so here we go again, right? What's your initial thoughts on this?
Well, my initial my initial thoughts is I want everybody to learn from what happened, for the 2 to 3 years that we were dealing with COVID when it originally happened. We
Right.
learned about fake news, the CDC. I can't believe, like, there's no trust there. We know that there's an agenda at the end of the day, and a lot of people's liberties were stripped from them and making decisions with the vaccine. And I just hope that people learn this next go around to maybe have and that's including me, to have a better stand, because I got vaccinated because of my job.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people did, and I mean, a lot of people got vaccinated because they were listening to professionals that told them that that's what they needed to do. I agree with you on the part that we are at a position now where we're far more knowledgeable, right,
Yes.
about how to make it through this kind of stuff. I think the unfortunate things from the first shutdown was we're set back, a decade economically. And we're feeling the effects of it right now.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I think socially, it's really, really damaged our younger people, especially the younger ages, like my daughter's age, having to leave school, and it just becomes like a social anxiety she struggles
Mm.
with. And I know a lot of kids have gone through that, and a lot of kids end up getting homeschooled because of that. So the first shutdown, the world is a different place now, right? There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it. I mean, if you look at like movie theaters, nothing ever, it never came back. Even restaurants and like fast food, everything seems different. So
Mhm.
it scares me to think that, could we make it through something like that again, or would society allow that to even happen again? So I don't know. It's something to watch.
Just
It's
people need to be smart. Just be smart, make better judgments, right? Like, to
Yeah,
your point when we were talking earlier, if you get sick, you don't go out. Like, we know the rules, right? So let's
right.
play by the rules that we do know, where we have the control, before it becomes a situation where we don't have any
Yeah, I
control
mean,
again, like the first time.
I I think it's common sense stuff, right? Like, you wash your hands, you be
Yeah.
respectful. If you're sick, stay home, or provide some sort of barrier between you and somebody else if you have to go out. It's just common sense stuff to
Yeah.
keep viruses from spreading, and be respectful to people, especially elderly people and people who
Mm.
are predisposed to illnesses. It's just common sense. So I think if we use that, we'll make it through. But the next story on the docket is something that's close to me because it's here in my own hometown and it's in my industry. It's the UAW negotiations and strikes that are pending with the big three. We'll take a quick look at a clip and then we'll talk about it.
Boom.
Oh, the deadline to reach a deal between the United Auto Workers and the Big Three is drawing closer. The current contracts are set to expire in 23 days.
Negotiations between the UAW and the three companies appear to be intensifying. Key issues include eliminating a two-tier wage system, better benefits, and a 32-hour work week.
7 Action News reporter Peter Maxwell has been covering this story
vote
for
for
us and
that.
joins us live now from
Right.
Detroit. And Peter, some union halls are already starting voting on the authorization for a strike.
Yeah, so I mean, it's that time again. And this is like the NFL, the NBA, and these other union organized labor systems where contracts, they play out their contracts come up, and they have to renegotiate. So during that
Mhm.
time, they look at all the different things that they don't like or that they want to change. And when those negotiations come up, if they don't like the offer that the big three's given them, they're going to go strike. So
Right.
the unfortunate part of that is it affects thousands and thousands of people in this area in the industry. This is Motor City. This is a automotive backed state. So a lot of people depend on this industry, a lot of incomes. And I don't know anybody that right now can be living off of, just hanging out and doing unemployment. It's hard enough to work in two family income homes and
Right.
pay your bills and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting. I know that, both sides will lose money if they strike. Obviously, the big three will lose money and they're not producing cars every day, but the automotive workers are not going to be paid either. So I think there's a fund that they pay in for the union. They get some kind of stipend every day while they're on strike, but it's nothing to, that's going to
Yeah.
really help them pay bills. So, and then it can affect me if it goes on too long. I'll get laid off. So, I mean, it's a scary thing. I'm just praying for the best, hoping for the best, not just for myself, but all the families in Metro Detroit that are affected by this and will be affected by this, and the laborers to get, what they feel they deserve and what's necessary to continue working. So just say a little prayer for us over here in the D, bud.
Hey, buddy, ever need a spot to come, you can come over to be more happy with Turnsky, So
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
yeah, always have room for you. But all right, man, let's hop into this. So you're sitting there and you're thinking about joining the United States Marine Corps. Matt, what do you always hear about? You better get in shape. You're going to get your ass kicked. Yes, being in shape is a huge component of surviving Marine Corps boot camp. But what about the mental strength that it's going to take to start and end your journey? We're going to start with a quick little clip of an inside look of Marine Corps boot camp. Here we go.
This crew needs to make a head call, sir. Needs.
Hey, Matthew, how are you, bud?
Coming back.
Tell me what you fucking need. Request, Miss Shut up. You're gonna tell me what you freaking need. I'm here for your goddamn needs, right? Right, sir. We're back on the block. We're trying to get. We're back on the goddamn block.
Makes me all warm inside watching that, man.
Oh boy, memories from the corner of my mind.
So that after watching that clip, there's got to be questions, right? So we're here to give some advice. If you're out there and you're thinking about joining the United States Marine Corps and what type of things to get through boot camp. So some of the questions you have to ask yourself is, what drives one person to join the Marine Corps versus any of the other branches? Matt, you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thought process you want to take very seriously. All the branches offer the benefits that most people go in for, or a lot of young people go in for, which is your college, your free health care, if you're young and married or you have a child. All the branches offer that. So what makes you decide that you want to join the Marine Corps? So specifically about the Marine Corps, it's a war fighting branch. We're there to fight wars and we're there to win wars. That's the sole purpose of the fucking Marine Corps. I'm getting fired up now, right? So
keep it going.
When you decide to choose to go in the Marine Corps, understanding what you're going into, right? Like right now we're at peacetime and that's fine. All right. But the Marine Corps is the only branch of the military that is at the disposal of the president. It does not need congressional approval to be deployed to a combat zone. The president signs something, the Marine Corps is there within 48 hours, boots on the ground, in the shit, kicking ass and taking names, right? So understand what you're getting into when you join the Marine Corps and do it for the right reasons, right? Yeah. Understanding what you're going to be doing, the challenges that are ahead of you, and why you're there as a Marine is very, very important. So if that's something that you decide to get into and you want to challenge yourself to be part of the most elite fighting force in the whole fucking world, you get in, you go walk in, talk to Staff Sergeant Smuckatelli, right? And you sit down and he's going to give you, the leadership traits and all that stuff. And he's going to talk to you about your military occupational specialty, your MOS. So tell me about that.
Right. So now it's time to pick a job, right? We've decided for the right reasons that we're joining the Marine Corps. We understand it's a warfighting organization and that there's probably a good chance that we're going to be called to go serve on America's behalf. Now, picking your job, uh, there's many different jobs throughout the Marine Corps. Not everybody even has to carry weapons if you really want to get down to the dirty of it. But I would suggest, and this is just me personally, when you're looking at all the capabilities that you have of the jobs, I would look and really dig deep and try to find something that you think you're remotely interested in. And then along with that, something that you're remotely interested in, but that also scares you because you don't know if you can do it. I think there's a healthy level of like interest and fear that plays into making your decision into your MOS. For me, I picked 0811 artillery, field cannoneer. Now, when I when I picked my MOS, I remember I was in the recruiters station, and that was the day I was going to pick my job, and I was just flipping through a magazine, and I flipped through a magazine, and I saw this huge cannon, which I didn't know at the time really was a cannon, but it was a 9 or 8, and there was a cannon crew section out in CAX, and they looked rough, they looked badass, they looked jacked. And I just turned the page and I was like, hey, I said, what are these guys? And they're like, and I'll never forget it. Sergeant Scringe, he looked and he goes, oh man, they're the king of battle. He goes, that's rough living. And I said, sold. And he goes, no, but he goes, Andrew, listen, he's like, you can do all these other jobs. And I was like, sold. And I was like, I want to be a cannoneer. How'd you end up in comm?
So a lot goes, well, what mainly goes behind it is your ASVAB score, right? We talk
Right.
about that. You take a generalized test that's going to test your knowledge in all areas, mathematical, language, engineering, all that stuff. So that is going to limit what you're able to choose, right? So if
Yeah.
you get a low ASVAB score, you're going to be limited in what you can do, right?
Mhm.
I would suggest to do an ASVAB prep before you get in.
Yep.
And before you go take that test, if you want to be able to pick your MOS and have a wide variety of MOS to pick. But when you pick that MOS, that is going to be how your ship date is going to be decided is the needs of the Marine Corps, right? So the Marine Corps has what they call boat spaces. So,
Okay.
and that's basically looking at the Fleet Marine Corps, which is the traditional everyday 9 to 5 Marine Corps that's happening. If they see that a comm guy is set to get out and he hasn't reenlisted or he's set to retire or whatever, that's opening up a boat space. So they have to time when they send that new recruit to boot camp and all the training he's got to go through, and then go into the fleet to fill that boat space, that job. Why I picked comm was I originally wanted to be and this is not, I know everybody says this, but I wanted to be an assault man. I wanted to be an infantry. And at that time there was like a 5-month wait for a ship date on that. And the guy's like, well, why don't you do comm? You're right there with the grunts and with artillery. And I'm like, oh, well, what would I be doing? He's like, you ever seen those movies where the guy's walking around and he has that dangly thing on his backpack, the antenna, the radio guy? He's like, yeah, that'd be you. And I'm like, okay. Well, I mean, I had a background in communications, so I scored very high in the electrical part of the ASVAB. And I'm like, all right, so I'll go be a radio operator. And that's how I became common. My first unit ended up being right there with you on the ground, and I stayed on the ground for most of my career. But after they decide, right, what your ship date is, when you're going to go, depending on how long that is, you stay in the Poolee program, you do your functions and all that. With me and you, it was very quick. We joined during the time of war.
Yeah.
I think I was in the Poolee program for maybe 3 weeks before I shipped to boot camp. Was that about right for you? Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
yeah, same. I never went to any functions. I didn't really know what a pulley was. I believe my recruiter knew like I was probably going pretty quick. So I told him straight up I wasn't down for any of that. I just was looking for a ship date.
So you get that ship date, you're going to start going to a place called MEPS, right?
Yep.
And you're going to fill us in. Once you get to MEPS for the final time, your final physical and swearing in, talk about that experience.
So, so I, with the swearing, everything's happening so fast in your world. So understand when you're, as well prepared mentally as you can be for some of this process, things just happen fast. So understand that it's a normal feeling. But I remember the swearing in, there was a bunch of us there, raising our right hands. There was really nothing special about it. And then I vaguely remember anything in between, but what really sticks out in my mind is before getting on the plane to head to Paris Island, there was a handful of us. I want to say maybe 7 or 8 of us, and we took a picture. And I couldn't find it for the show to be able to show it. But anyways, talking about that was the last civilian photo and last time I was who I once was, right? So all of a sudden you get to an airport and then there he is. There's a drill instructor standing there. It's dark out. I can't remember if it was early in the morning or late at night, but all of a sudden he just starts screaming at the top of his lungs, start running. And like literally that specific moment right there, everything that I once knew was completely gone. What was your experience like going through and kind of swearing in?
Yeah, I think the MEPS process was the same. I mean, I did the naked duck walk with a group of 50 guys like everybody else and bent over and did all that shit. And then swearing in, I did it. I was by myself. A lot of people have family members there. My mom's probably going to be offended that I didn't ask her to come and all that shit.
Way to go, Matt.
Yeah. But I did that by myself. And I think like what you said, it was just kind of like a fog or something, I really was just ultimately set on getting there and the craziness that was about to happen. So when we talk about mental preparation behind it, it's just staying focused on why you joined and just getting through all the bullshit to get there. Stay focused. Make sure you get as much sleep leading up to that as you possibly can. Stay rested, keep your mind sharp. When I got on, same with you, I went through the whole airport process. I got on the bus for Paris Island. I think it was maybe like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could have heard a cricket fart. It was so quiet on there. It was no one wanted to move and no one wanted to say a word. And then you hear those bus doors crack and those, core frames come walking up the stairs.
Well, think about how interesting just that bus ride was. So all right, now you're gonna find yourself on this, say, Greyhound, whatever it is. It's a chartered bus, and they're just driving in circles around the base. To the idea, they don't want you to know how to get in and out of the damn place. That's one thing people don't know. But I remember, when you pull up, everything, you don't know anything that's gonna go on, and I think you just have to be okay with that. I think that's along with the mental preparation, just being okay that you're not in control of anything for the next 13 weeks, and be all right with that. I remember when we pulled up and I happened to look over. It's dark as hell out, and you just see like these statues standing there, and then you see all these yellow footprints, right? And they didn't come on directly. They sat there for like 2-3 minutes, and it was probably the longest. And you maybe hear like a whisper here or there, but it was like their anxiety of like, oh shit, this is about to happen. Everybody handles things.
You could feel the energy. Oh no, I mean, like,
oh yeah,
the tension was crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. And so all of a sudden, like you said, the doors open up and you hear this, and he's like, I'm whoever, or this is, Marine Corps Depot, Paris Island, you're on my bus, like, and then he just goes through the speech. Now, when you're at that point, there's going to be a moment where he starts screaming at you to get off that bus. That is your time to show up and go to work. You get off that bus and you go find your fucking footprints and you sit there and you just follow every order that is being screamed in your way. Do you remember your bus ride?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you could feel the energy. I'm a big energy guy. Like I you know me, I feel energy a lot, and it was just quiet. And I think what helped me was I was older, and
Yeah.
I had worked for a while. I had been through some life experiences. So
Mhm.
mentally, I was just a little bit more prepared for dealing with. I understood the scope of what was going to happen, that this was going to be a very, very difficult, stressful situation. And I just had to keep my mind focused, shut the fuck up, and do what I was told. And
Yeah.
and, and that's it. I mean, that's all you're required to do.
Mhm.
Not worry about what this person on the left and the right is doing. Pay
Yeah.
very close attention to what you're being fucking told.
Yeah.
Keep your mouth shut and move fast.
Yeah. And so the one thing that I can't wait to get into, and then as the series of this continues, again, mind you, everybody, this is going to be a 3-part series. Tonight, we really wanted to talk about the decisions of why you're going to join the Marine Corps, to become a Marine, and what that entails in terms
Yeah.
of your service, and obviously moving on in the rest of your life, as we're seeing how much is still impactful to this day. So, listen. In conclusion, here are the 3 mental tips for surviving Marine Corps boot camp, and they're in no specific order. So sit down and start right now and shut the fuck up. Make sure you're joining the Marine Corps for the right reasons and understand the differences between each branch, right? We talked about them in the beginning, talk about the benefits, and understand ultimately what the Marine Corps is meant for. It is a war fighting unit, and they are meant to deploy any part of the world within 96 hours. We can be on any
Yeah.
front. So also, number 2, have situational awareness with everything that is going on around you and be observant as possible. All right. See how other people mess up and they're getting screamed at, they're getting hazed, whatever's happening. Don't do that. Right. Learn from your mistakes. Like, there's going to be a lot of things thrown at you, literally and figuratively, that are happening very, very fast for 13 weeks. This is just the beginning. So please understand. And the final one is understand just where you fit, right? You are a piece of shit. You have no rules, rights. There's nothing that's expected of you other than to sound off, keep your mouth shut, which I know it's pretty ironic, and then just hustle and do everything with a little bit of intensity and show up every day, work hard, train hard, and again, shut the fuck up. So thank you
Yeah,
for
I think.
joining us. Oh, go. Wow.
Well, let me say this. I think that this generation is definitely the Y generation,
Oh, right.
and so talking about like understanding where you fit in, you will find out why. I promise you,
Yeah.
you will find out why at some point, right? And if you're that person who needs to find out why, you're not going to right away. You don't need to.
Mhm.
You are the lowest man on the totem pole. You're there just strictly to do what you're told. Eventually, you will start finding out why. And to go back to the mental preparation, why we think it's so important over the physical is when I joined, I told you I hadn't ran
Yeah.
a mile in like 15 years, right?
Mhm.
Or done a crunch. I jumped on the pull-up bar and did 8 pull-ups, and that was good. And, whatever. Yeah. So, but I understood in my mind what I was getting into, and I wasn't going to quit. So the physical part is important, but I think what's the drive that's inside of you, and where you can fight mentally and how hard your mind is what's very important. You can be the biggest, baddest, most buff guy in the world and mentally be just a weak bitch and not
Yeah.
survive a week out there. So
Yeah.
it's what's between your ears and what's in your heart, and remembering why you joined.
And the reason why we wanted to start off with talking about the mental side of things, I feel personally that this is a bigger issue than kids joining and not being as physically fit. I say that because of the generations that are behind us that are coming up. Everyone can say it above us too, that they're a little bit softer. Things are softer for them. I think the hardest things for them, dealing with the pressures of life, social media and school and all that stuff, um, is is
It's a lot
overwhelming.
more. Yeah, it's
It's
a lot.
it's a lot more. So understanding that, like, work on your mental stability and your mental well-being to, you know, join the best fucking gun club that the world's got to offer.
That's right, bud.
All right, man.
I think that sums it up. It's a good cliffhanger for when we get off the bus. We talk about when you get off the bus and what's in store for you in a couple weeks.
Well, thanks everybody. Be sure to come back 2 Mondays from now. We're going to be back right here on whatever platform you're watching us on, and we're going to have part 2 of how to survive a Marine Corps boot camp. Until next time, everybody, stay disarranged. We'll talk to you then. Peace.
Thank you for joining us. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.